भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यास ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So, Hare Krishna, all the devotees, we are reading today Canto 3, Chapter 8, text number 20 and 21. This chapter is entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Vishnu. So, 20 has no purpose, so we will recite the verse 21. So, I will read myself verse number 20 and translation and purport, and after that we will recite verse number 21. So 20 verses says, Tamasi apare viduratma sargam vichinvato bhut suham satvinemi yodeha bhaja bhayam irayanaha parikshinoti ayuram jashahetihi. Translation, O Vidur, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Lord Vishnu, and which generates a fear in the mind of the living entities, like the fear of death. Text number 21. So I will read 3 times and you please recite after that. ततो निर्वित्तो प्रतिलम्ब कामः स्वधिष्ण्यम् असाद्य पुनः सदेवः शनैर्जितश्वास निवृत्तपित्तो न्यषीद आरुण समाधियोगः ततो निर्वित्तो प्रतिलम्ब कामः स्वधिष्ण्यम् आसाद्य पुनः सदेयः शनैर्जितश्वास निमत्तपित्तो न्यषीद आरुण समाधियोगः ततो निवृत्तो प्रतिलम्ब कामः स्वधिष्ण्यम् आसाद्य पुनः सदेवः शनैर्जितश्वास निवृत्तपित्तो न्यषीद आरुण समाधियोगः. Please recite.
ततो निवृत्तो प्रतिलब्धकामा स्वधिष्ण्यम् आसाद्य पुनः सदेवा शनैर्जितश्वास निवृत्तचित्तो न्यसीदद् आरूढ समाधियोगा.
ततो निवृत्तो प्रतिलब्धकामा स्वदेष्ण्यम् आसाद्य पुनः स देवः शनैर्जितश्वास निवृत्तचित्तो न्यासिदाद् आरूढ समाधियोगः. हरे कृष्ण.
Anyone else? Okay, so let us read word to word translation. Tatah, thereafter. Nivrittah, retired from that endeavor. Aprit lamba kamah, without achievement of the desired destination. Swadhishyam, swadhishyam. Swadhishyam means own seat. Asadhya, reaching. Punah, again. Sah, he. Devah, the demigods. Saneh, without delay. Jitashwasa, controlling the breathing. Nivritta, retired. Chittah, intelligence. Nyasidat, shut down. Arudha, in confidence, Samadhi Yoga, in the meditation on the Lord. Purport in translation, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki that. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from such searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Purport. Samadhi involves concentrating the mind upon the supreme cause of all, even if one is unaware of whether his actual nature is personal, impersonal, or localized. Concentration of mind on the supreme is certainly a form of devotional service. To cease from personal sense surrender, and when the self-surrender is present, that is the sure sign of devotional service. Each and every living entity needs to engage in the devotional service of the Lord if he wishes to understand the ultimate cause of his existence. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So in this chapter, we are reading about how Lord Brahma was manifested from the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So as we know and we have discussed many times that Garbhodaksha Vishnu came from the umbilicus, the navel, lotus navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and it is many miles long, and on the top of that there is a lotus flower, and on that lotus flower Lord Brahma was born and was manifested actually, and he was self-manifested. That's why it says Ayambhu. So he was self-manifested. That means without father, mother, but he came from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, his origin. But when he came actually on the top of the flower, he didn't know what to do. So in this shlokas, what we are reading now, we are reading the Brahma's birth and his search for the absolute, where he came from, because he was in the pitch dark on the top of the lotus flower. He could not see anything. And then he was thinking that where I came from, where this lotus came from. And he was looking all four sides and wondering, what happened, where I came from. So actually how the birth of Brahma actually came around, that Lord Vishnu actually entered the flower, lotus flower. He came through the stem and came to the lotus flower, and he impregnated with all the modes, all three modes, Sata, Rajo, and Tamo. And then Brahma was self-manifested from that lotus flower. So Brahma actually was sitting on the center of the lotus flower, and he could not see anything there. And he was moving his eye all around, and he was thinking in all directions, front, sides, both sides, and the back also. So he was moving his head. That's why he got the four heads. This Brahma, which is in this universe, he has four heads because he was moving his eyes in all four directions. So Lord Brahma actually could not, even though he came from Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he could not understand the creation, how it is taking place, where he came from. Even he could not know where he came from. So this was little wonder for him. So actually this creation is very hard to understand. Even we try our best, it's very hard to understand unless we have mercy of the Supreme Lord and mercy of the pure devotees. Otherwise we will not understand these things. These are very complicated subject matters because it's done by the Lord. And so we can see that this mystery of creation, we cannot guess, we cannot think about our mental speculations. We have to get the mercy first thing. And we can see that Brahma actually, his power to create, like we see that Brahma is the creator, secondary creator. So how Brahma created this power is not his power actually. We should know this thing, and we should know that this comes from the Supreme Lord himself, not like he himself has any power like that. Because when by Lord's of mercy, he's doing this, and Lord empowered him to do that. So Brahma, what he did when he was sitting on the flower, he actually was contemplating on the Supreme Lord. He was thinking, who am I? Where I came from? And where this lotus came from? And he see all the water all around the flower. So he was thinking that where this all water came from and why I'm sitting on the top of the. So he was looking all around, and he was thinking where this lotus, when you see any flower, it has to sprout from something. It has to come from something. So he said, where it is sprouted, there must be something from which it is originating of. So because flower cannot come without a tree and branches and all those things. So he was thinking where it came from. So to find out that, Brahmaji entered the lotus stem, and he went on. It's a billions of miles long. He keep going for lot of time, because it takes so much time to travel, because all the planets are in that stem. So he just went on, and he reached near the navel of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But he came to very close to the navel, but he could not see where this stem is originating from. He could not see anything there, or he cannot find any trace of that stem where it came from. So we can conclude with that our personal endeavors actually are not sufficient for our success. Because that's why Brahma could not succeed, And so actually we need lots of mercy to do anything, And also not just the mercy, we need his sanction also. Because Krishna, we know, is situated in our, is a super soul in our heart region. And he is Anumanta. He is the sanctioner. So he sanctions everything what we desire. So without his sanction, nothing can happen in this world. So we have to actually accept that fact, that all the things, what we are doing is by the sanction of the Lord, not going on itself, our endeavors will not be fruitful unless we have the Lord's mercy and Lord's sanction. So when Brahma was searching that way, the Brahma's duration of life, like we are reading in the 20th verse, first verse we read, he says, O Vidur, while searching in that way about the existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time. So Brahma's time was passing like that, because eternal wheel of time, which is in the hand of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has the wheel of time, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, time I am, Kala Asmi. So he said that, so that was passing by too much. So this is the greatest, which generates a fear in the minds of living entity, like the fear of death. So in all living entities, the biggest fear is the fear of death actually. So that thing was coming in the mind of Lord Brahma also, that he was thinking that time is passing so much, and it's in the hand of Lord Vishnu. So actually I should do something else. So that's why he turned around, and he again returned back on the top of the lotus flower. So because he could not find anything. So we can see this chapter actually, that in the beginning of this chapter, the Maitreya Muni was praising the inquiry of the Vidurji. He was glorifying that you are great soul, you are inquiring so many things for, because he knew that very well that Vidurji knows answers of all these questions. but he's asking for the common man. And that's why whole Bhagavatam came around. Otherwise, it's all in the form of question answer. So many questions Parikshit Maharaj asked, so many questions Vidurji asked to Maitreya Muni. So this is all question answer form, and that's why we have the Bhagavatam in front of us now, and we can take full advantage of that. So that's why Maitreya Muni actually started speaking Bhagavad Puran, and all spoke about the personality of Godhead, because Bhagavatam can really solve all the problems of the humanity. So because there is no, if we follow the Bhagavatam properly, there will be no problems. So we can see in the verse number 2 in the purport Prabhupada is writing, the sage Maitreya proposed to speak as Srimad Bhagavatam because it was specially compiled and traditionally came down in the disciplic succession for the solution of all the problems of the human society. But only one who is fortunate enough to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, because there are so many people, we have seen so many people, in the world. Population is so big, so vast, but hardly 1% people really listen Bhagavatam seriously, and they listen regularly, because very few people do that. And when we hear Bhagavatam, actually it should be in the association of pure devotees of the Lord. If we just hear ourselves, we want to understand properly, so we have to have association of the devotees also while we are hearing. So that thing is important. If one comes in the context of Bhagavatam book, so as well as with the devotees who knows the Bhagavatam very well, he knows it, and he can explain to you, then it is very easy to understand that. So such fortunate person, he even can get out of the material engagement very fast that way, because once a person understands Bhagavatam, then it's very easy to get out of this material engagements, entanglement also, because he understands what is good for him. Because this material world, as we all know, that this is really very attracts us, all the time, and puts us in the real danger. So we have to be very careful while we are in this material world, that how Maya Devi actually attracts us. So Maitreya Muni is very compassionate. That's why out of compassion, his compassion, he is actually telling us Srimad Bhagavatam. And Maitreya Muni is relating his own story from his guru, what he heard. Who was the guru of Maitreya Muni? Parashar Muni. And Parashar Muni has listened from the Shankhayan Muni, and Shankhayan Muni heard it from Sanat Kumar, as we discussed before. And Sanat Kumar has heard it from Lord Shankarshan, the Anantadev, who has many hoods, and he is all the time glorifying Lord Krishna in the Garbhodak ocean. So this creation of Brahma, how it happened, that's what is next described in this chapter. And because when Maitreya Muni was discussing with Vidurji, he actually stopped this discussing about creation at the end of the sixth chapter. And then from the seventh chapter, he discussed other things, but he didn't continue the creation. So he is starting in eighth chapter again, the creation, how the creation took place. So the description here in eighth chapter is a little bit different than what we find in previous chapters actually. And why this is? Because this description, what we are reading, is after the partial dissolution of this material world. Because at the end of Brahma's one day, there is a partial dissolution of the world, of the universe. And at the end of Brahma's life, 100 years of his life, and that comprises of 311 billions and not 311 trillion and 40 billion years. So that long time is for Brahma's lifetime. So that's pretty long time. So at that time, after 311 trillion years, what happens? Whole material world is completely finishes, and complete dissolution of that. But at the end of Brahma's one day, which is called a kalpa. So after the end of the kalpa, actually there is a partial dissolution. Everything doesn't finish, and so all the jiva souls actually goes in the belly of Lord Vishnu and stays there for the night of Brahma, which is also same way 311 trillion 40 billion years. So that much time all the jiva souls actually go and sleep in the belly of Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So we can actually imagine how long we were sleeping there. But when we wake up, once another Brahma comes, then we come out of Garbhodaksha Vishnu's belly, and the Brahmaji starts creation at that point. So Jiva Goswami actually comments in Srimad Bhagavatam for the text number 1087:31. What he says, this material world is finally destroyed. And when it's finally destroyed, what happens? Individual souls as well as their material desires also together, they enter the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when the material creation again takes place after the night of Brahma, then what happens? These souls become attracted to the various transformation of the matter, because matter is transforming, taking so much transformation. And then they have the material desire also, which goes with them. So then those material desires arouse again. So actually we carry our desires birth after birth, birth after birth. So that's why it's good for us to have the transcendental desires, not the material desires, because material desires, we finish one life and then next life again, those same desires comes back and we take, and Lord gives us body according to our that particular desire. So Lord takes care of our desires, one way or the other. But if we have transcendental desire, then Lord takes us to his abode. But everybody is not devotees actually. There are so many rebellious souls which are averse to the Supreme Lord. What happens to them? They are born in the material body again and again. Their cycle of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi never finishes. And they keep taking birth, life after life, after life after life. And what he considers that I'm beginning new life at this point, it's not new life. The same life is going on for millions and millions of birth, And when we take birth in this material world as human being, what we think, oh, this is my birthday, we celebrate happy birthday to you. So this goes on actually, but it's not a happy birthday, it's nothing new. It's going on for billions and billions of years. So Prabhupada is describing here that this is the conditioned soul's unfortunate behavior actually, is an unfortunate mentality. Having taken the birth, he should have gone to Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha Loka and serve the Lord there. So whosoever are the fruitive workers in this material world, who works hard day and night and think, this is the life. So in Bhagavad Gita, we have seen how Prabhupada is describing Mura, that they are completely foolish people. And those people, we know foolish people, they are so enthusiastic to work from morning to evening and just for little temporary benefit, just getting little food or little bodily pleasures, just for them, they have big shelter, they marry, and the children, and whole day they work to just run the family. So that's why it's mudas. They do that. If we running with the family, if we make them devotees, we make devotees our children, then our life is perfect, no problem. We can earn to propagate the Krishna consciousness, that's also perfect. We can have a big temple in the house and serve Lord that way, that's good. But if we just do for our sense gratification and we have no other aim other than that, then his life is completely gone almost. So one thinks himself very clever throughout his life, that he's leaving a lot of assets to my children. And the children, when they get free money without work, they misuse it completely, because they never work for it. So why they will care about it? They just waste that money somehow or the other. And then we, as a father, what we do, we earn the money a lot, we work so hard for that, and sometimes we take risk of doing the sinful activities also, because to earn the money, you have to do so many things. So we don't have full knowledge of those activities, and those activities actually sometimes bound us in the shackles of material bondage. So that way we keep taking birth again and again. So here Maitreya Muni is explaining that after 1,000 yuga cycle, one day of Brahma finishes at that time. So at that time, all the jiva souls enters in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And under influence of the time, they prepare to emerge again. And then the motion again starts from there. So while Lord is lying down, a subtle. So how all the jiva souls, which are trillions and much more than that, of course, how they all go in the body, they are in the very tiny form, which is like, as we know how much the soul is, what is the soul size? 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. So it's very small size. So all the jiva soul can come in very small space actually. But when new Brahma comes, then we just come out of the Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's abdomen, his belly, and we suddenly pierce his belly and come out. So all the living entities actually also comes out with the souls, their karmas comes out. And by the supreme will of the Lord, the energy takes place in the shape of lotus stem. So that lotus stem is actually Virat Roop of the Lord, and whole Virat Roop is in the stem actually. And gradually at the top of it grows a bud there at the top of the lotus stem, and then the lotus forms on the top of that, on the top of Virat Roop. So this is the gigantic subtle form of the Lord, and that form has been amalgamated in the Lord's at the time of the previous universal dissolution. So when the dissolution took place last time, so since that time actually this Lord's energy and everything, they were amalgamated and lying there. But once Brahmaji comes, then everything gets active again, and slowly this universal form takes place. So the Lord expands himself at that time as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu takes place as a super soul in all living entities' heart. And also he enters all the atoms of this world, and even in between the atoms, he enters all these things. And then at that time, the lotus Brahmaji is born, when all the jiva souls comes into existence and they come out of the belly. At that time, Brahmaji appears on the top of the lotus. So Jiva Goswami is writing here that to create the material world, Lord Vishnu, by his inconceivable energy or potency, he enters the lotus flower, and first time he personally becomes Brahma. because at that time there are no Jiva souls. So who is eligible for Brahma's post, So later on the Brahmas becomes from one of the Jiva souls actually, but the first time he personally becomes a Brahma, and he is the potter, and he makes all the parts actually. He fashions this material universe from the various material ingredients. So Prabhupada is commenting that this lotus flower is universal Virat Rupa, as I explained, and this gigantic form of the Lord in this material world. In this material world, that lotus stem is actually Virat Rupa, and in the abdomen, at the time of dissolution, it becomes manifest at the time of creation. So when the creation takes place, everything starts creating at that time. In this form, the sum total of all fruitive activities of the living entity is conditioned by the material nature. What happens then? By the material, the first of them comes the Brahma, and then who is the controller? Brahmaji is we know that he's controller of this whole universe, and he generates from the lotus flower. And while he's sitting there, then he thinks, how I can generate all the population as he was ordered by the Supreme Lord, because he himself doesn't have any potency to generate anything, and neither he could understand his surrounding, that where he is, how he came from. He doesn't know anything. So that's why, as we discuss, he enters the lotus stamp and comes out, and then so neither Brahma or anybody understands the past, present, and future. And how that, so when even Brahmaji, who is the creator, he himself cannot understand, then we can imagine how the scientist can understand the creation. No one can know the mystery of creation. So Prabhupada is writing in the 17th, in the purport of the 17th verse, that no one can understand the mystery of creation. It is the cosmic manifestation simply by his mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery by the will of, he cannot understand without the will of the Lord. So it's very important that Lord has to sanction, then we can understand the creation. If he doesn't sanction, we will not understand how Lord creates, how Lord maintains this whole world, and how he destroys everything. We will never know that. So Brahmaji at that time was thinking that how I should understand this part. So he thinks some other methods, how he can think, how he can understand this. So he focuses his intelligence at that time, and then he thought, best thing to meditate on the Supreme Lord. So he meditated on that lotus stem for 1,000 years. And at that time, Lord gives him intelligence and gives him Om. So from Om word, he was meditating on the Om word, and then slowly he got knowledge, and then Lord gave him the 4 shlokas, 6 shloka of Bhagavatam, and from those 4 shloka, Brahmaji ordered other sages, then it was expanded to the present form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can see here that by our personal endeavor, we can go near the Lord, but without Lord's mercy, we cannot reach the ultimate point. Like Brahmaji went down till the end of the navel, close to the navel, but he still could not understand. But such understanding is very easy actually for the devotees, because devotee can understand it very easily, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yas Shasmi Tattvata. So that Bhakta, by bhakti, he can understand everything. Tattvata, how it is actually. So there are, later on in the 21st verse which we just read, so it says to cease from personal sense endeavor and to continue on the supreme cause is the sign of self-surrender. And when self-surrender is present, that is a sure sign of devotional service. So there has to be self-surrender. If self-surrender is not there, then it's a big problem. That's why it is very important that all of us, actually each and every living entities, has to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. If we want to understand the ultimate cause of his existence, where Lord comes, and so we have to wait for the mercy of the Lord before we can either render service to him. Even for rendering the service, we have to have mercy of the Lord and our Gurujan and Acharyas. Without their mercy, we want to do the devotional service, we will not be able to do it. Because even to render devotional service, we need the mercy of the Lord and his devotees. And to understand as Lord he is, as he is, it's very difficult. So we need a special mercy actually of our Guru and Vaishnavas. Then we can understand how the whole world, how the Lord is functioning, how the whole world is functioning. It's a very hard subject matters, but we can understand by bhakti, by self-surrender to the Lord, and then everything can come about. So actually in the 20th shloka, the time factor is there. In time factor, we know how in Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna is saying in the 11th chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, time I am the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you. The Pandavas, Arjuna was listening. So with the exception of you, all the soldiers here on the both sides will be slain. So Krishna declares that even before the Mahabharata, that all the soldiers, that's why he was saying that you just fight. They are already killed. Because Krishna was the original cause of killing them, not the Arjuna. But Arjuna was thinking, that I am killing, I am doing this, but its main cause is the Krishna. So time, actually, if you see the time, Kala, how dangerous it is, it takes away everything within short time. Even in the womb of time, if you see that big civilizations actually are destroyed. Even yesterday was Ram Navami, and Ram Rajya was there, but Ram Raj, now we cannot see. Ram Raj is nowhere at the present time. It is just a kind of historical event. Similarly, we can see that there was great emperor Yudhishthir Maharaj, the Kuru dynasty, and what happened. It is just a history actually. We cannot see any king in that dynasty anymore. And even we can see the recent history within last 50, 70 years, the British Empire. He was ruling so many countries on this earth planet. And now we can see British Empire is almost gone, completely vanished. So we can see, these things becomes just history, because times actually takes away everything. Nothing is permanent in this material world. They all finish on time. When the time comes, everybody has to go. Nobody is permanent in this material world. But we are ignorant, and we think, we are going to live forever. But end is so close, we never know. When truck comes, if you are walking on the road, truck comes, and crush you in 1 second, and you are gone. So what kind of assurity we have? We are living, taking each breath by the grace of Supreme Lord. If he doesn't give us oxygen, we will die in 1 second. So this is our condition actually. So Lord is giving us everything what we need, the water, the grains, the air, everything is provided by him. And by his mercy, we are breathing, eating, we are moving our arms and everything. Otherwise, if the Lord's mercy is not there, we could not do anything at all. So that's why person who are wise, actually, they all the time look for the divine perfection, that let me do something for Krishna. So the yogis people, whosoever is here, real yogi, he all the time stays in the eternal plane. And once you are in eternal plane, in the transcendental life, then you are actually away from the past, the present, future. Those things doesn't affect you. So influence of the time and space, they don't affect a yogi, pure yogi. So yogi actually can feel the time, but without the presence of past, present, and future. So that is the eternal plane of time, actually. So in that plane, actually, even inhalation of this word comes, we are not inhalated. Like if we are in a spiritual world, there is no inhalation there. So inhalation is only for the people who are not on the plane, but otherwise Krishna takes them in Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha Loka, the devotees. But people who are non-devotee, they are envious of the Lord, then they have to take birth again and again. So in Bhagavad Gita's 9th chapter, Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all the material manifestation enter into my own nature, and in the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So Krishna is saying that I create the people again after this millennium is over. So by the end of, because at the end of the millennium, all the jivas also goes in the belly of Lord Vishnu. And when the new day of Brahma comes, then everybody comes out of his belly, and they are born here and there according to their desires at the time of their death, previous death, and then they take the birth according to that. So this is the cycle going on for millions and millions of lifetime. So let us see how accounting of the external time takes place actually. One may even live 100 years or more, doesn't matter actually, but then again he is in the earthly cycle. So he comes back, goes, comes back. So this goes on. So we keep traveling in the life cycle. Although life cycle is very short, if you see, even we live 100 years, our life is so short in comparison to what we have gone through. We were in the stomach of Garbhadaksha Vishnu. How many millions and millions of years, actually trillions of years there. So we can see that we are alive for a long time. This relatively, this human form of life is very short actually in compared to what we have spent time before. So the thousand yug cycles takes one day of Brahma, and also one night is the same. Each day of Brahma night is the same. So 4.2 million years is the day of Brahma actually. So 0.43 million years. All the different yuga has different day. So 12 day of Brahma consists of 100 Divya Kalpas. So one day of Brahma actually 1000 Divya Kalpas. And one kalpa is 4 yuga. 4 yugas of the Satyuga, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali Yuga. So Satyuga is 1.72 million years. The Treta Yuga is half of that, 1.29 million. And then Dwapar is 0.86 million, and Kali Yuga is 0.43 million. That's why we say that. So duration of one kalpa is 4.3 million years. One kalpa is, one day of Brahma is 4.3 million years. And that way, if you calculate that Brahma's one day is 4.3 billion years. Because million years multiplied 1,000, which is just 12 hours of his experimental time realm. So Brahmaji is 100, Brahmaji lives for 100 years. So those 100 years are 311 trillion and 40 billion years. So that's the life of Brahma. Very, very long. So as we discussed, this universe goes on recycle one after other, and recycle goes on. So these things keep going on. These cycles keep going on. Just 1 second, please. So we have to actually see how we can meditate on the Lord and do his Leela Katha. So actually when we do Leela Katha, like yesterday was Ram Navami, and we discussed all the many things about Lord Ram's life. So when we discuss this kind of Leelas, then what happens? Our heart actually gets purified, completely purified. And whatever is the dust accumulated in our Atma, it slowly starts going out, and hearts gets purified. Then we can understand the devotional life, what is the importance. Without that, it's very hard. So we have to hear very attentively, and especially if we hear very attentively, then we will develop love for the Lord and also attachment towards the Lord, Supreme Lord. And once we have the love for the Lord, that is actually our goal of life, to develop the love for the Lord. So we have to meditate on the Leelas of the Lord. Bhagavatam, we hear in the morning, but we have to meditate whole day, remember different Leelas, different times of the day, and that will make us really happy. So, and that is the thing we are looking for, because happiness is everybody looking for. In this world, everybody works. You ask anybody why you are working so hard, he said, for happiness. I want to earn the money, and money will give me happiness. So, but when we try to do happiness, actually we have to understand that this happiness should not be for our bodily enjoyment, because that happiness is very short-lived, that doesn't live for a long time. So we should actually, like big home, what gives us the material happiness? The big houses, beautiful wife, children, and all these things, money, lot of money, millions and billions of dollars, So these all things actually gives us material happiness, like big cars and big friend circle, all these things gives us happiness. But actually this is very temporary. We should strive for the permanent happiness, which actually lives for us forever, and at the end of our life takes us to the spiritual world. So that thing is very important for us, and we should understand the difference between material happiness and transcendental happiness. And we should work for the transcendental happiness, not for the material happiness. So, like yesterday, there were so many people in the temple. So if you ask any of them, sometimes people ask this question, that I heard that Lord is everywhere. There's no place where Lord is not there. Like Prahlad Maharaj said, when Hiranyakashipu asked, is Lord in this pillar? And he said, yes, he's there. So Lord is everywhere. So many people wonder why they have to go to temple. Because they come to temple maybe once a year or something like that, on Janmashtami or Ramnavami or Deepavali, whatever. Other times, those karmic people actually do not show up in the temple. So if sometimes they wonder that why they have to come to temple. So if we say the Lord is everywhere, why not in the temple? But they don't get satisfied with that answer actually. So one Maharaj said in a class that the water is everywhere under the ground. See the water under the ground everywhere. There is not a single space, where water is not there under the ground. That's why when we put a like hole in the ground, like we will open the well, dig the well in the ground or tube well in the ground, water comes up. There's a lot of storage of water under the ground. But can we drink that water? Where we will drink that water? We have to go to well or tube well or water dispenser to drink the water. Similarly, when we go to Lord in the temple, he can dispense a mercy. He can see you with merciful glance. So we want to be seen by the Lord. Of course, we see the Lord and get his mercy, but actually, Lord sees us also and gives his mercy to us. So we should actually strive for that, Lord's mercy. Then only our life will be transcendental, otherwise not. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says we have to do some form of deity seva. The deity seva, when we do by our own hands, we get more attracted to the Supreme Lord. And when we go to temple and see the beauty of the Lord, then we should actually enjoy that beauty, because this is just so nectarian. Lord is dressed nicely, nice ornaments. See the nice face of the Lord. We should first see the lotus feet of the Lord. So Lord is so beautiful. So we should actually enjoy that beauty, and that should give us proper happiness in our life. Many times, actually, when we do a lot of bhakti also, that also sometimes can give us the pride. So we should be prideless, because this all comes by the mercy of Krishna. Or sometimes we become very rich, or we have big house, or we have empire. What happens? We get actually very proud. So this is the karta. This is that I am the karta. Karta ham iti manyate. What we say, prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vivinodhatma karta aham iti manyate. So I was hearing day before yesterday a story that how we can have the karta bhav. So Maharaj told there that there was a dog and he was lying underneath the bullock cart. And it was a little cooler there, so he was lying there and he was sleeping. And at that time, the village people was loading the bullock cart, and they were loading the grains to sell in the city. So they loaded all the cart with full grains and everything. Then they bring the bullocks, bullocks were there in the front, and they were carrying the cart. Then dog woke up from the sleep when the bullock cart started going. So he didn't have any space to sneak out, because in the back people were walking on the sides, the wheels were there, in the front the bullocks were there. So dog got inside underneath the cart, so he was going few miles, and then he started thinking like, oh, see how much weight I'm carrying on me. And then his body becomes so stiff, that he had, see what kind of work I'm doing. So then the next village comes. In next village, the other dogs started barking at him, because when the dog sees other dog, they start barking. So the other dogs started barking at him. So that dog started telling, why are you barking at me? Don't you see I'm carrying so much load? I'm not useless fellow like you guys, I'm doing some big work, see? So he was telling like that. So little later, after they pass the town, then what happens? The dog turned around, seeing what is in the bag, So his tail actually touched the bullock. So the bull actually kicked him, and he went 8-10 feet away from there. And then he hit his head on the tree, and he got little unconscious. And just for a few seconds. So after that, when he woke, he saw, oh, where is bullock cart? Bullock cart is going nicely without me. So I was not carrying actually the cart, I was thinking so this is the same condition of human beings. We see that Lord is feeding everybody from ant to the elephant. They don't go to work 7 to 9 or 7 to 4, something like that. And still they all are getting their food. So why, if we chant Krishna's name, why Krishna will not feed us? He will feed us, but our problem, we don't trust in Krishna. Because when you become sadhu, and just we can see in the Vrindavan, so many sadhus live and they get all their food, It's not they have to go to work and earn the money, something like that. But you have to fully depend on Krishna for that. So we should not have that karta bhav that I am the doer, and then we have to fully depend on Krishna. Then Krishna will give us the whatever is our necessity, and he will keep us what we have, and what we don't have, Krishna will provide us. So we should have that kind of faith in Krishna and work. Krishna never said don't work. He said work, but work for me. Give your results to me. That's Nishkam Karma Yoga, which many times ends up in the bhakti. So we should, if we are, most of us are working in this material world, so we should do Nishkam Karma, this Nishkam Karma in this material world, work for Krishna and give donations to the temple as much as possible if we have extra money, and then we should work for Krishna all the time. That will be our best life, and that we should do.
Amen.
So I will end here. We still 7 minutes, So anybody has any questions, comments, we can discuss it. Thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to say anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Sita. There, it really made me think how difficult it is to get a human life, and then how wasteful we are with this human body. It really made me think, with the life, the way how we were, from here to there to Garbhodev Dakshina wishes, and then coming. I was like, and then we are finally in a human body where there's a chance we can go back home, but how wasteful we are. Even after knowing the knowledge, we're not able to apply all of it. It's just very very difficult to, so many times you would see the bottle says poison in it and just don't drink it, and that's simple. But we have entangled ourselves with so many things that it's just impossible. It's not impossible. So many souls have done it, but it seems impossible. It seems so difficult to get out of it. But at the same time, when you are not getting out of it, you're just literally wasting this amazing opportunity that you have, in this human body. So just a realization.
Good, Mataji. Very good realization. Actually, we hear Bhagavatam all the time, but we have to practice that thing in our life. Then only our life will be perfect. Otherwise, just listening is not sufficient. Listening is very good, purifies us, but just purification of the heart is not important. Actually, practicing that shikshas, the education, what we learn, we practice our life, what the biggest sages, sadhus actually teach us, acharyas teach us, we have to learn those things, apply in our life. Then our life will be much more perfect than just listening. Thank you, Mataji, for comments. Anybody else want to say anything? So we will end here then. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.